I want to start this off by saying that I don't want to be the kind of person who makes enemies here online. And that is totally not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to antagonize James Tanner, the writer of this article. I am simply responding to the ideas presented within it. Toronto Maple Leafs, Auston Matthews will score 65 to 70 goals. Boy, this is going to be a great one, isn't it? This is an article released on Editor-in-Leaf, which is a subdivision of Fansided.com. And this article talks about the Maple Leafs, and in particular Auston Matthews. It discusses the fact that Matthews has been, statistically speaking, the best 5-on-5 goal scorer and one of the best goals per 60 men in the entire NHL for the entire span of time that he's been here. And the post mentions that in the past 2 years, Auston Matthews has led the league in 5v5 goals, and the second place guy, Connor McDavid, is 4 goals behind Matthews, despite playing 600 more minutes and 20 more games. The article puts a lot of faith into the idea that Auston Matthews definitely hasn't been given all the opportunities that he could have been, and yet he's still one of the best goal scorers in the game. And this is just on a statistical level here. The first thing that he talks about in the article is the growth. He's 20, turning 21, so he's going to get better, and that's kind of obvious here. But the article also talks about 2 other things here. The first one being John Tavares, which is definitely true, because if John Tavares is on the first line, that means that all the really good defenders are going to go after Tavares, which leaves more opportunities for Auston Matthews on the second line to go out there and be even more lethal than before. As well as the power play, which is something that, let's face it, Leafs fans know that Auston Matthews hasn't really been given the utmost opportunities to play on. So, having all these things combined, the statistics which argue that Auston Matthews is one of the best goal scorers today in 5v5 play, which is undisputable, you can't deny that the stats don't lie. We have the developments within Auston Matthews' internal game because he is growing. We have John Tavares coming in here to distract all the really good defenders and shut down lines from Auston Matthews, and we have a power play that will most likely see Matthews grabbing more minutes. Does this mean he scores 65 to 70 goals as the title claims? I absolutely don't think so. I think that we could cap things off at maybe around like 50-55. To say 65-70 is honestly kind of ludicrous to me. And again, I'm not trying to attack the writer of this article, James Tanner. I am just arguing with the ideas presented. The article says that when Alex Ovechkin scored 65 goals, he had a lower goals per 60 rating than Auston Matthews. Which, I don't know, I've never really been a fan of the goals per 60 rating because that all depends on, like, how a player's being used and everything. For me, goals per game has always been the big one, but Alexander Ovechkin, back when he scored 65, it's very undoubtable that he was the #1 power play guy, he was the #1 first-line guy, which means that he was given all the ice time in the world and all the ice time he could have asked for. Auston Matthews is not going to get that ice time. The power play, let's just assume that he does get that power play time, sure. But he's not at that same level that Alex Ovechkin was back when he was getting 65 goals, because Matthews isn't a guy who will be played on the first line consistently. He most likely will fall behind John Tavares like the article talks about. So to me, this goals per 60 rating that is mentioned in the article isn't necessarily all too reliable of an argument for me, but you know, who cares, I could be wrong. But I just wanted to go over things, because the article does claim that it will be easy for him to get 50 goals, and it says that he will most likely get 65 to 70 goals, and then at the end, it even says, I think I'm underselling his potential so as not to seem crazy. It's not impossible. He could score a goal per game for 82 games. Which, that, I think, is a little bit far-fetched. To put things into perspective, only 4 players in the NHL have ever scored 82 games in a season, and the last time somebody did that was 1991, where that was Brett Hull. If you want to take a look at just 70 goals, the last time a player scored 70 goals was in 1993, and that was McGillney and Solani. They both had 73 and 76 goals, respectively. A player has scored 70 goals in an NHL season only 14 times, and I don't think Auston Matthews is the guy who's going to break that barrier. Heck, even Alex Ovechkin at 65 goals, he was in a position where it was literally 10 years ago. The game was different then. I don't think Auston Matthews has the potential to get 65 to 70 goals. I understand the arguments that the article is presenting, but at the same time, I don't think it's fair to assume that everything will translate at a linear rate. Tavares taking away the defenseman from Auston Matthews will literally mean Auston Matthews doesn't get as much playing time. You could say the power play is going to add something to his depth. Yes, that is absolutely true, which is why I believe Auston Matthews could get 50 goals this season. But at the same time, I think expecting a huge jump like 65 to 70 is a little bit much. Anyways, writer of this article, James Tanner, I feel no ill will towards you. I'm just responding to the article you wrote here, and anybody in the comments, you guys have any opinions on this, you can read this article, it's in the description. It's a very interesting argument with a lot of different points brought up within it. It's a very interesting read, so I highly recommend you guys do that. Hope you guys enjoyed this video here, Plus Gaming, and bye.